Grandma.
I call my grandmother Gia.
I call her Suki.
Grandma. Yeah, Grandma.
Grandma.
Nana. I think she thinks that like Granny is like kind of cute. Like I think that's her like Jenny from the Block like upgrade on Grandma.
So only my sister and I call my grandmother Gia.
It was like a Suki now, you know, so she's Suki to everybody.
Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Good night, sweetheart.
I haven't really heard her talk much about her life and her experience.
She instilled like mannerisms and being very poised and always putting your best foot forward.
Because my grandmother is really sure about who she is.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Season 5 premiere of the Grandmother Project presents Pearls and Pocketbooks, our live interactive webinar experience featuring Black grandmothers and granddaughters discussing love, life, and everything in between. I'm Melanie Brazil, and I am the creator of the Grandmother Project, an original 9-episode docuseries and archive now available on YouTube. Simply go to youtube.com/thegrandmotherproject and click subscribe. The link will be in the chat. We are so excited to wrap up Women's History Month with some very special guests. If this is your first time joining us, be sure to check out our previous episodes on YouTube featuring inspirational grandmothers like stellar award-winning artist Sherry Addison and her mother, the legendary Mary Jenkins. Tonight, we have got an all-new episode for you as we chat with a mother-daughter pair and a few special guests who have built their lives around serving others, entrepreneurship, and empowering future generations. It is my pleasure to bring you Pearls and Pocketbooks, episode 21, Education. So now let's meet our guest. Deltrina Grandma Johnson, a woman of faith, was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, and migrated with her family to the Bay Area at the age of 10. She carries the heart of her New Orleans upbringing, spirituality, music, love, food, family, and entrepreneurship, inspired by her mother and vibrant family. From a young age, Deltrina embraced the music of her fellow New Orleans native, gospel legend Mahalia Jackson, performing in church as a teen. Her high school choir teacher became her manager, opening doors to perform gospel, soul, jazz, and pop, helping her to land a role in the theatrical production Beach Blanket Babylon. Beyond her musical talents, Deltrina nurtured a passion for community, the less fortunate, and business. She married her soulmate, and together they raised 3 children, all accomplished musical artists and entrepreneurs. The family established and operates daycare centers and preschools throughout the Bay Area, while continuing to share their musical gifts through diverse performances. For over 2 decades, Deltrina has served on numerous boards, supporting programs focused on quality childcare, food pantries for the unhoused, and annual holiday toy giveaways. The annual toy drive is especially close to her heart, as she recalls receiving toys from similar organizations during her own childhood. Celebrating 50 years of marriage, Deltrina actively shares her spiritual strength and life lessons with women and youth as a wife, mother, grandmother, teacher, Christian, businesswoman, and dedicated community worker. It is my pleasure to introduce you to Mrs. Deltrina Grandma Johnson. Mrs. Johnson.
Hello. Hello. It's awesome to be here. Thank you so
it's
much.
such a pleasure. And of course, you're sitting next to our guest of honor, who I will now introduce next.
My mother, Dorothy McMullen, yes.
That's right. Hello. So Dorothy Mae Lydia Bass, also known as Golden Girl, great-great-grandmother, and Gigi Mom, Dorothy McMullen, was born in New Orleans, Louisiana on April 24th, 1922. to Marie Louise and William Bass. She grew up with 8 siblings in a 2-room, spirit-filled home with Southern gospel music, Christian values, food for the soul, and working parents trying to make ends meet. Dorothy was unable to finish high school due to her helping her mother after the death of her father. She married twice and had 7 children from the 2 marriages. During her second marriage, she split from her husband and lived in the St. Bernard projects in New Orleans. During the late 1950s, she utilized her cooking and sewing skills to make ends meet. She opened a sweet shop out of her home and even assisted women with their wardrobes by making clothing to fit their needs. In 1965, Dorothy migrated to San Francisco, California, along with many other family members to meet up with her husband, George McMullen, who saved to get the family away from the South. Dorothy held babysitting jobs, which eventually led to owning childcare businesses with her children. She was even able to obtain her GED and take college courses in child development at the age of 70 plus years old. Dorothy, her children, and grandchildren have been fortunate to own and operate 14 childcare businesses, from family daycares to preschools to academies. As she's always said, when you pray to God to do right, He blesses it. At the age of 90 years old, she was able to publish her own book about God, faith, hardships, and family. While she became hearing impaired shortly after, she still reads, enjoys dancing, and being cared for by her beautiful daughters and grandchildren. Dorothy is now dealing with dementia, and yet with family around, she is able to recall occasionally while writing out sentences. She will be turning 103 years old next month. What a blessing. It is my tremendous honor to introduce you to great-great-grandmother Dorothy McMullen.
Yes. Yay. Here's her sign here. 102. Fabulous.
I love it.
Fabulous.
What an honor. This is just absolutely fantastic. Great-great-grandmother McMullen, it is a pleasure. Grandma Johnson, it is a pleasure to have you on the show.
Yeah. She's saying
Thank
hello.
you all so much for being here. So, both of you all are joining us from the West Coast this evening.
Yes,
the Bay Area, to be exact.
Yes.
Big ups to all my Oakland family. But you're originally from New Orleans, the Big Easy. Grandma Johnson, what was it like for you growing up there as a little girl?
What I love from New Orleans is the fact of jumping rope, games, being outdoors, having a sense of community and family. It was just amazing, especially for me. What was nice was the fact that everyone knew their part. For instance, you knew that the elder people, when you passed by, you said good morning, you said hello. You knew the fact you were willing to always go and help, and you always were gaining wisdom. It's all, even your schools, your teachers came to your house. They didn't just stay at the school. They came to, I remember, I could tell you, my first grade, second grade, third grade teacher, I could smell the Estee Lauder, their perfumes in my mind right now. If your grades weren't great, they're going to come and talk to your parent. So it's such a sense of community. I think that's what I love most about it.
That is just absolutely amazing. And, a lot of that stuff is missing nowadays, now that we're, spread out. And so, we learned from the bio that you all grew up in the St. Bernard projects in New Orleans. Give us a taste of what that was like. I know that, it was very vibrant from what you said. It was a close-knit community, but also, your mom operated businesses from that space. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, she did. It's kind of ironic that you would say that, because what was amazing was I remember at nighttime smelling chocolate. I'd be sleeping. My mom's just cooking the chocolate. She's doing the pralines, candies. She's getting things ready. And so we would do like an assembly line also to make and package things for the next day. And the goal was that way that my mom could then buy fabric and buy material and sew and make additional monies. And so I had thought that every single household did the same thing. But what was amazing was my mom also, her heart willingness to also reach out to people who did not have these skills necessarily, a lot of single moms. And her goal was also for us to not always feel like the fact that we had it all together, but always be willing to help support other families. I think the thing that I most remember in the St. Bernard Project was see my mom get on her knees and pray And sometimes when I went right when our cabinets didn't have enough food, she'd pray, she'd take action, she'd make sure the fact that we took action as well, working to get monies in order to buy food, in order to make ends meet. And those prayers really, for me, I think were a key factor along with hard work. Because she said, you know, that you don't work, you don't eat. And so we were taught twofold: you stay on your knees and you get up. You know, it's kind of like faith without deeds, and you take action, and then we would see the fruit of the action. And that for me made the projects living there. It was big. Yeah, it made such a rich community. There was a lot of music. There were a lot of games. There was skating. There was bike riding. There was seasonal events. Um, and there were also, there was sometimes, families who have difficulties. But my mom always pulled us back in and made sure the fact that we stayed on the straight and narrow. Let's put it like that. She made it, and also the key thing was education. A key thing was, getting good grades. The key thing was excelling.
Yeah. Well, we've got an amazing picture from back in the day
Oh
that
my
we can
gosh.
put
Okay.
up.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, that
this is
picture. Okay.
wonderful. So tell us a little bit about this picture.
Well, you'll see now that's my father there on the end, George
We'll put it
McMullen.
back up.
That's my dad. And then that's now the middle boy there. My mom raised her sister's son. That's Larry, my stepbrother. And there's my sister Maddie. And I was jealous because Maddie had a higher beehive than me. She teased her hair fuller. And my mom allowed that. And mine, I didn't like the way I'm next to Maddie. And then my sister Ness, she looked like one of the Supremes, her hairdo. And my baby sister Joy, she teased her a little thing too. And my mom was just pretty cool. So that's our family there. There were more of us, but that's group who took that particular family picture. I love that family picture. It's very
That
special.
is wonderful. So you talked about this sweet shop and your mom, made pralines. I mean, tell us about those. What was that like?
Wow. So that particular candy, that particular sweet item is very famous in New Orleans. First of all, my mom had a recipe. I don't know if she got it from her mom, but she made that, and she would chop up the nuts, buy all the items, or either the coconut, pralines, the nuts, and she'd make the candy, put it on wax paper. I remember that, and we would package them up along with the frozen cups. And the next day, our door knocking on our door, Miss, everyone wanted to buy, and the goal was to, it was amazing her business strategy to use something that people in Louisiana love, and she made money because of it. And we just watch and observe and had to assist and learn the same method. That whereas you just don't go to bed. No, we're a team. We're in this together, and this is what this will produce. And so, naturally, she actually brought that here to California as well.
Wow,
Yeah,
that is
my sister Joyce, you'll talk to her later, but you'll see some other the rich values from that was taken and brought here as well.
and that's really something, this episode is called Education because there's so many lessons that we learn as people, as family members, as daughters, as granddaughters that don't necessarily happen in the classroom, but
That's
they're the
correct.
things that really make us who we are. And this is, these are your foundations, and I think it's just really spectacular and commendable.
Mhm.
So in addition to, great great grandmother McMullen selling pralines out of her home, she also made maternity and plus size clothing for women in the community. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, as you can see, she's probably still the same size. One of the things that she's never had a problem was gaining weight. Even though she had 7 children, she maintained her weight. And she was a seamstress, as was her mother and other family members. And so other women there in the project, well, first of all, people have a lot of children. And which is normal, you have a baby, you gain weight. And so a lot of women were very heavy. And unfortunately, I guess the style of the dress was called a muumuu. You probably even know that. But a muumuu, it was just a simple dress because there weren't really the style wasn't to dress heavy women at that time. There were no plus size clothing lines. And so what my mom would do is she would share with them, come here, she would help those women. I remember what she would do. And she would take this. So at some point prior to them getting pregnant, they would maybe be like a size 8 or 10. And now they're size 6 and 18. She would slit that part up. She would take the bottom of the hem. I remember that. And then she would make the piece bigger for them, or she would get fabric to match it. and they will walk out there on Sunday on their Sunday best looking good. And what she did in addition to that, she also would take a regular hat and cover the hat with that fabric. So you walk out looking sharp. And then she went an extra mile, and then she would cover the shoes. So now those women, they're like looking good, doesn't matter what size they were. And to me, that was just remarkable to just see that particular skill on that little sewing machine in that little room, because the project was small. We had 3 little rooms, but to us, it was grand. It was grand. And her performance and all that particular talent, those particular gifts that God gave her, was really a help to excel that community. And we were very, very proud of that.
That is, it's so amazing. It's a real testament to using what you have,
Exactly.
you know, and just with a testament to vision.
Oh, yes.
Because I think sometimes it's very easy to get discouraged. Even now, you know, with everything going on, that man, how am I going to make it? What are we going to do? And to be able to tap into those God-given gifts and to have the courage to use them is really spectacular. And so we have to show, of course, that your mom has always been stylish. We actually have a slide of her in her late 20s looking good. Look at this photo.
All right, that's right.
Wow. Can you tell us anything more about this? This is amazing.
Yeah. Well, right next, she's standing next to her husband, and he's a soldier, but that's one of her dresses which she made, and a pink dress, with her bag and her cute little hat there. And there's many, many more behind me, other items here on the wall. But aside from that particular outfit, she started knitting clothes and making outfits out of knit or crocheting hats to match. But that was definitely a particular dress. Even I want to say even the bright color pink was just amazing. It was creative, and she looked good.
I know that's right. She does look good. And we actually do have a picture of her along with her nephew modeling some of her crochet fashion. So let's get that up just so that everybody out there can see.
That's one of her. That's right. That's one of her crochet outfits. Now, you know, I should have sent that picture, but my wedding dress was made, the top was white crochet and the bottom was English lace. So I was really proud of that as well. But yeah, that's one of her fashions. She had many, many fashion shows, just with her skills, just using her skills and just sharing them with the world.
And you still look good, great-great-grandmother McMullen. Still look good. I haven't seen a picture yet that has not been fashionable.
You know, she knows how to pose. She knows
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, your parents, like so many of our elders during that time, they really were pioneers, you know, picking up, moving across the country, you know, the courage and the bravery that had to have taken. And, you know, what was it like for you as a 10-year-old moving from New Orleans all the way to San Francisco in 1965 or thereabouts?
That was culture shock. Well, in New Orleans, because there was not a huge melting pot of people, and for us to get here and to see so many diverse cultures, I mean, plus we moved to the San Francisco, the Mission District. It was Hispanic, and so that was pretty hard. Our father, he was glad to get us away from the South, that whole Jim Crow, you know, the racism there, and he wanted better opportunities for us. And so our goal was, okay, we're gonna go to the land of plenty, you know, and you know, just take our skills and our heart. And we came to San Francisco in 1960. I should never forget. We took the train from New Orleans, June 15th, got here June 18th, 1965. I was 10 years of age, and on the train. And so it was not as, I want to say, Louisiana, we had such a close-knit community, but here there were more opportunities. But for me being a 10-year-old, it was hard in the beginning. I had to adapt and learn and understand other cultures and the values of those cultures. And we were fortunate at the time. Well, there were 7 of us, and to be close-knit and to learn to learn a little Spanish, but primarily just to learn how to navigate this whole new land. And I think what happened for us, what was a key blessing, was we did find a church that was that helped us to embrace California. It was another church that was similar to it was like a Southern Baptist church, and those relationships were key. That also helped us But overall, I want to say it was challenging, but it turned out it turned out a lot better once we became accustomed to the environment. But you know, I mean, you know, but the church definitely helped us to feel a lot more comfortable. I should put it like that. Because the church is more like less family. And by the way, the church had a lot of people from the South. And so we could exchange conversations while we were here, what each family received once they migrated here to the, so it was Third Baptist in San Francisco. It's a powerful church in San Francisco, that is a historical African American church. And so that helped us to build new relationships as well. But the community at the same time in schools, we just had to adjust.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, that is a huge difference. You know what I mean? You literally moved across the country, and we've got a wonderful picture of your parents. I know it's from a little bit more recent times, but we have a picture that's here of your dad and your mom, and just hearing about how he saved up to get you all out there is
Yeah, that
really
was
amazing.
amazing.
That is, you know, there are so many people, relatives and elders in our community that have vision and
Yes.
work so hard for future generations. And many of us are living in the fruits of their labors,
Yes.
me included. I am here in Chicago because of the vision of my grandparents and great grandparents, and I think it's so important that we're aware of that and that we remember and celebrate and pass that on. And so, that story is incredible. You all came to a brand new place, and here you are, all these many generations that have come after that are in California now, and it started with a vision.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
you
As a
know,
matter of
so
fact,
I,
that's picture of my dad who had taken my mama on a cruise once. So once and when she was here comfortable, she'd never been on a cruise. And so that's a picture of them both being on the cruise celebrating. So
I
that was
love it.
something new as well.
Yeah, and I love that they got a chance to enjoy themselves. You
Yeah,
work hard, you should be able to play hard,
absolutely.
you know.
Yes.
So I know that, you were pretty young at the time, but, I can't help but thinking that, 1965, the country is in the height of the civil rights movement.
Mhm.
Malcolm X was assassinated in 1965, along with so many other luminaries.
Yeah.
The Black Panthers were founded in Oakland a year later.
Mhm.
Did you have any awareness of this as a child? And if so, what was that sort of experience like? What was that from your vantage point as a child?
Well, just as you just described, Martin Luther King being assassinated in 1968. In San Francisco, it was, come on, we were right by the Haight-Ashbury. It was the peace movement. It was the Vietnam War coming to an end. It was quite a bit to take in. At the same time, for me, it was exciting, going from junior high to high school to be a part of, oh my gosh, I want to say, well, not necessarily the riots, but just people fighting for their rights. And it was exciting. I went to Abraham Lincoln High School, and that was encouraging. I want to say I ended up started singing, and so I was fortunate to be able to not only be on Hate Street one moment, and there, it's burning your bra. It's a women's movement at the same time. It was sliding a family stone. It was, I mean, you name it, was all the music. It was Janis Joplin. It was, I could just go on and on and on and name, and every artist there have certain movements. And then there's the Black church going on, and it was quite a bit. But for me, I was able to take it in and embrace it. And I actually love the changes that were taking place, a little by slope, but they actually were taking place. Women's rights was really a key factor there. Education. Yeah. So for me, it was exciting. But I think what for me, and each sister, each person in my family have a different dynamic. But for me, it made my music excel even more so. Actually more doors opened up for me.
Wow, what a time. What a time to be alive. I mean, you're talking about stuff that like I've read about in the books and
Yes.
these legends, and that stuff was happening. The hate is still so legendary, that area of San Francisco. And
Yes.
these were your stomping grounds, which I think
Yes.
is just
Yeah.
Incredible, incredible to have that be a part of you. We actually have a wonderful throwback picture of you, a high school graduation photo,
Oh
looking
my
good.
goodness. Yes. Wow. Wow, that's amazing. I just graduated from Abraham Lincoln High School. And at that time, my high school teacher had become a manager for me. But at that time, the movie Lady Sings the Blues was out. And I wanted to do my hair similar to that particular movie. And it's amazing. But that's 1973 when I took that picture, my high school picture. Wow.
Wow. So,
Back memory.
looking at that picture, what was your dream for yourself at that time?
At that time, I want to say more opportunities had come about. I had then entered theater at a very young age. And so for me was to really be an actress. I had gone to play the role in Sparkle, and Irene Cara ended up getting that role. I this the whole, like I said, as I said, Lady Sings the Blues was popular, and so my goal was to be able to get to a Broadway play. And fortunately later on I was able to, as indicated, as was shared, I was able to get Beach Playing in Babylon. Because at the same time I wanted to stay in the Bay. Because LA, I wanted to go to LA, but then I wanted to be close to my family, and then some other opportunities. And so I was singing around throughout the Bay, and it was so many various genres, but my major thing was the gospel music. Remember I shared about Mahalia Jackson, and I had this low Southern voice, and my dad knew Mahalia Jackson, and I got to meet her at Third Baptist Church because she sung for the minister who passed away. And I was just blown away, and I'm like, at that point, oh my gosh, this is my gift, this is my calling. And so at that point, I was then so grateful, so honored to be able to work with the music directors there. And they did albums, and just the doors open when it came to the music. So I was able to bring back New Orleans for me. To me, that was very special.
That's incredible. That is incredible. I mean, you're speaking of these things so casually. I'm sure everybody watching is like amazed to hear these. These are your firsthand memories. You know what I mean? Like being able to be in the same place as Mahalia Jackson,
Oh yeah,
who I believe also then came to Chicago, right? Like she has then a Chicago connection as well, which is that's kind of cool. So kind of going back to your mom, when I think about, you know, you talked about all the things that she's done and all of her resourcefulness and getting you there, setting you up so that you could pursue singing and making sure that, you all had opportunities in California. I can't help but think about this Proverbs 31 woman. I mean, it's literally like her to a T, this resourceful, wise, strong, dedicated to her family.
Okay.
How has that sort of impacted who you've become now as an adult?
Yeah, I love Proverbs 31, that woman of noble character. My mom, that noble character which she has, it talks about, and I love that whole that whole chapter about the fact that her children rise and call her blessed. You know what I mean? For us, even my sisters, you guys get a chance to talk with them. Being a noble woman, a woman of faith, a woman that respects her family, respects her community, loves God, get on her knees, trust God, and don't wait for somebody to do something for you. You do it. You get on your knees, you get up, and you take action. And for me, I'm really grateful and honored to have my mom, who's going to be 103 in April, and just the values in which she set. I mean, she set us down. I mean, she talked with us. She led us in such a manner with just to respect yourself and respect others. Always respect your elders. Always respect your elders. For me, all these values things helped me to go from being a teen. Yeah, I did my other crazy stuff. I wore my hot pants and I did all my dancing and all that. I was crazy, believe you me. But I was always driven back to, okay, Del, get on your knees and at the same time, become educated, seek wisdom. There were older ladies in the church. My mom always had me going around the elders and even the church, who she said, okay, you go over and hang out with her. She has something to share with you. And I remember these women to this day, some of them, a lot of them are gone, but even the values in which my mom always had us and she always had us to have relationships with people who were going to, whereas we were able to gain insight. And I think that it kind of works with the whole Proverbs 31 women, the woman of noble character.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I think that that's actually really amazing, sort of leading you to other people, mentors and people around. I think a lot of times we forget how wealthy we are as a community
Oh yeah,
in wisdom and knowledge,
yes,
that maybe there are some things that we might not have access to, but we have each other's stories. We have these experiences and elders, and that's really the whole inspiration behind this project, is that we have something that we can share with one another, intergenerationally. So I do want to put a couple more pictures up here, because we've got your mom, who we've been talking about. We've got this amazing picture. I call this
look at that.
fashion maven.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, this is sharp.
Oh yes. Oh
Look
yes.
at this
Her.
look.
She and her furs. Oh yes.
Yes, wearing a fur. I mean, just the cream, it's gorgeous. And then I've got pictures. So you talked about, your mom and service and giving back. And I know that you actually have a very extensive background in community service and giving back to the community. Can you tell us a little bit about your toy drives that you've done for the past 20 years, and your service work in the community?
Sure. I'll start off by saying, when I was a child, something that always bring me to tears. When we were a child in New Orleans, there was this place every year that we would get toys. And we would go to this place, and we were just in line, we were just excited. We didn't care, we're just grateful the fact that we're getting something. And we'd go to the Municipal Auditorium, that's in New Orleans. We'd be in line, we'd get a gift. Fast forward, I would now, speaking of this place, Oak Center Cultural Center, it's in West Oakland. I live over by Lake Merritt, and a gentleman said, oh, they need help with opening up a preschool night, and to be able to keep the building. And so I went there to help them to open up a preschool, and this particular nonprofit to keep their building, because they were losing their building. And when I got there, and it reminded me of home. It's West Oakland. It's a predominantly African American community. It's somewhat diverse, but majority African American community. I said, well, maybe I can utilize the skills that taken from New Orleans. And so we started having potlucks and that sort of stuff. I said, better yet, let's open up a school there. Well, in the community there was a lot of homeless, even prior to all the major homeless problem we're having now. And my thought was, okay, food. That's food. Let's get together. Let's grab the church plates. Let's do some food and food giveaway. I then got on the board. I was on the board since 1988, the longest board member. And so I utilized all the skills God had given me to bring there to them, and it just became a floodgate of community churches and members who came together with me in order to make this happen. And so what that enabled was to be able to get there. The women cooked the food. We're able to make bag lunches. We're able to feed vets. We're able to feed homeless. We actually go to homeless encampments and bring them out and give them banquets. And then what's most important was then we Christmas time, we saw a lot of children who just impoverished families in there. And I'm like, wait a minute, toy drive. So I just started asking my daycare families, can you guys help bring, like, even toys that weren't in the best shape, but anything that anybody, because some people can have a treasure, they can throw something away, it could be another person's treasure. And so what that ended up doing is I started putting the word out. Like, matter of fact, let's call the news. Let's get other nonprofits to work with us. Let's get churches to work with us. Let's schools to work with us. And now it's gone from providing toys from 100 kids to 200 to 600 and the line is like down the block. And then my sister, you talk to her, she's always having these events. She had the snow machine, because I'm like, I would love for these kids to see some snow. So we have the snow going, we have the snow coming in the air, there's toys, there's food, there's Santa, and it's a toy giveaway every single year. It brings me to tears to thank God that I was this child and I received these toys, and I know how I felt. And so I can imagine how these children feel. And there's children from all walks of life coming to this particular event, receiving these toys. And it melts my heart. It's very, very special. And we've been doing it for a long time. And Someone told me just recently on that particular, said, Deltrina, I think next year you're going to have a parade. She said, God, because it's getting bigger and bigger, it's going to be a parade in Oakland. And that's my prayer. One day it'll be a parade.
I,
Some
wow,
point.
your vision and your heart to serve are incredible. Can we actually put those slides? Let's get those back up just for those of you that are watching. Um, just to look at these giveaways. I mean, you can tell that they have such an impact. I see you there on the left, serving food to the community, and then look at that room full of toys all wrapped up for the children. I mean, I can't even imagine, but I'm sure that you have just brought so
Yes,
much joy and love to the community,
yes,
you
yes, yes.
know.
And then actually for the teens, we also give gift cards. You can, I mean, to go to be able to give the teens, because the teens sometimes don't want toys. So we give them gift cards. And we have the Thanksgiving banquet, and they're veterans, they're the homeless.
It's
Homeless
amazing.
coming from all over the area, and there's all of my elves right there packaging up the toys and just getting ready, and they're just as excited to be a part of it. So it's giving them an opportunity as well to give and to serve other people,
I
so it's
love it.
twofold. It's twofold.
I will say, I have spent some extensive time in the Bay Area, and there's something in the culture that does seem to be very community oriented, at least from my experience as an outsider. It's been a place where I have run into so many very, very generous people that have a heart to serve. So I don't know if it's something in the water out there, but I think it's really quite amazing for
I
those.
think one key thing, real quick, I think it's people who migrated from so many different places. You have this melting pot of people, and they come together and able to appreciate what's here. Of course, the weather as well.
Yeah.
But I think that has just a lot of people who come from different lifestyles and really, really appreciate being here.
So, as I think that's definitely it, so many people that had to rely on that kind of generosity,
Yes.
so as we continue here, you're so multifaceted that it's just amazing that one person could do this. You know how they talk about how we all have the same 24 hours,
Yeah.
and then you meet someone like you and your family and you're like, do we all have the same 24 hours?
Ladies,
Because you
thanks to
all,
her.
yeah, it's incredible.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
so this episode is called Education, and we've learned already so much about the resourcefulness and the lessons you've learned from your parents and your mom. But you and your family are actually in the business of education. You all have schools in the Bay Area. Can you tell us about sort of how that came to be and what your vision is behind the schools?
My mom started with just babysitting her sister's children so that they could work and have an opportunity to have income for their families. And we've watched it. We've always been around children. And when we were here, having our own children, prior to me going into childcare, I was into baking, and a gentleman mentioned about, oh, you could, he was talking about childcare. And I'm like, oh, my mom babysits, and my goal was to take it from the mom and pop portion of it and really make it be vibrant, make it be a business. So I went to school. I went to school for child development, and when I was able to work with my mom, who had the heart and passion. Okay, let's just add another dimension to that. So then so every home we get. We don't just get a home to stay, we get a home to open up a business. Now remember that started in the projects in New Orleans, right? The
Yeah.
sweet shop, the candy. So now we have our home. We're like, oh, wait a minute. So this room can be used for this business. So what we did was my husband and I bought a home by the lake, and we ended up opening up childcare there after I gone to school. And that went from, okay, let's grab the basement. Hey, the backyard we can reconfigure. And my sister buys her home, and then my other sister have a home, another place that has apartment. And it's like it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then at the community center, that very center one that you showed, that the toy giveaway, that we have a preschool there, because that helps to bring in additional monies for the community there, and at the same time provide quality childcare to those families as well. And when you look around, someone gets a place. The goal is everyone have children, and they need childcare, and so it became a very lucrative, needed business, and at the same time provide quality. I think the thing that's key for us is one, being close knit families. That it's one thing to have childcare provided; it's another thing to have childcare provided and be family. And so
Yes.
it's the heart that I think we give to those children and families, that we parents is not just a business transaction, it's a family. And so
Yes.
with that said, it just God allowed it to grow. And so, and we just opened up one is just opened up right now, January 2025. There was another two open up January 2024. And they're calling and they're and you know what's amazing? Some of the kids who've been around it, like, I'm not gonna do childcare. They get their place. Wait a minute, look around. I can make this happen. You know, it's just ingrained in them, I think, you know. So that's,
We
you
have
know,
some
and it's
pictures
a
of that
blessing.
actually.
And I think hats go off to in the projects in those little rooms, having that sweet shop, having that business model, you know, we're able to now, you know, do something different. And yeah, that's the school there.
Wow, look at that. And they're beautiful spaces. You can tell that there's a lot of love and care put into the spaces. I see you maybe looking as though you're doing a CPR training to the staff. And then I think we've got another set of slides that show more of the facilities and, you know, students reading. I think that that is so, so incredible that you all have expanded this vision. And that goes to show you how needed they are,
Yes.
you know, that it's growing, that this is a fruitful vision.
Yeah.
And you're right, childcare is so important, but especially from people that really care about you.
Yes.
You know, that makes all the difference. And I like something that you said about, you know, it's beyond a business.
Yes.
You know, I think sometimes there's an approach that school is a business, and this is it's different. It's facilitating growth and nurturing minds and taking care of little hearts and self-esteems. And I think that that's incredible that that's what you all are building as a family.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
Yeah. Right now in
that's
this building
quite
is
a
right
legacy.
downstairs. You know that.
Yes, and you know what? So that's actually a great segue, because you talked about the house that we're in right now.
Yes.
So, and one thing that you've said that I love, and I don't know if you all caught it, is that in this family, they don't buy a house if there's not a business that they're going to run out of it. And so, you know, tell us a little bit about this house that you're in right now and all the things that take place in it.
So mom bought this house in 1991. Her goal was to have her grandchildren move back here if they never had a place to live or going to college or need something. And the house had 7 bedrooms and 2 baths. Now it's like the Winchester Mystery House. I think it has like 11, 14 bedrooms and 5 baths. And it just keeps growing and growing. My sisters were laughing. So downstairs, my mom used to have the childcare on the main floor. Now the childcare is downstairs. And my sister surprise guest you'll meet, she operates that, and she's expanded that to, oh my gosh. The community knows she's so well known because of the depth in which she's made the childcare just blossom. That's the downstairs floor. There's grounds in the back and there's grounds in the front. And so there's preschool equipment up front. There's slides, swings, bikes, you know what I mean? And in the back, my niece, she has all of her new vision. She lives on the 3rd floor. So she's like an event planner with her mom. So there's balls and everything you can name. There's a hair braiding place upstairs. There's a baking thing if you want cakes, you know, if you want events. That room is loaded with everything you want for every event you want, for every graduation, anything you want. There's a politician in that over room, and you'll meet that politician over there. And so,
Wow.
you know, so it just goes on and on. But my mom used to knock on the door and say, "Who's here now? Who's doing what?" Who's doing
So
what?
we've actually got some pictures here. So as we promised, we have some surprise guests. You know, like so many Black grandmothers' homes, this house is sort of like central headquarters for the family, you know. And so first, we've got your sister, Maddie Scott. And actually, we'll go to the next slide after that one. We've got your sister, Maddie Scott, who is also a great grandmother. Is that right?
Yes, she is.
Maddie, it is so good to have you. Thank you for joining us.
I have to put on my glasses.
Okay.
I love it. So many grandmothers and great grandmothers all in one house. So, you know, you have operated a daycare and later became a community advocate for gun violence issues after the, you know, unfortunate loss of your son. But your work has recently led to you being sworn in as the new San Francisco Police Commissioner. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
For those of you watching,
I would have never thought that would happen in a million years, but you know, As my sister said earlier, the values that my mother taught us. You know, you take your pain, you dust yourself off, and you turn your pain into purpose. And that's what God has allowed me to do. And I wouldn't have been able to do it had it not been for her, because when that tragedy happened to me, it was very devastating. And it was my mother and her prayers and God that got me back on track, because I was a mess for like 7 years. It was not good. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful and honored and to be doing this gun violence prevention work with Mothers in Charge across the country, and with Brady United Against Gun Violence. I serve as the California president for that. And then recently, San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie appointed me to be the San Francisco Police Commissioner. So that's an honor.
Yes.
That is so incredible.
Very proud of her.
And
Yes.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. I mean, it's so inspirational. We actually have a video that we're going to get queued up from your, I guess, swearing in ceremony that took place at Third Baptist. And I think it's wonderful. You can just tell that there was a lot of love there surrounding you.
Yes. Yeah, and also Third Baptist is where we grew up at. We did an album with my sister, Wounded for Me, with Sir Jules Haywood. We grew up in that church under the leadership of Dr. Amos C. Brown, who's the president of the NAACP, who worked very close with us, and he was there to do the honors with Mayor Daniel Lurie, which was very heartfelt to me, and House Speaker Emeritus Nancy Pelosi, who I've worked with over the years, and our wonderful and former Mayor London Breed, did a lot of work with her and gun violence prevention. So I've done this work across the country for the last 27 years. It'll be 29 years that my son has been gone. So I do healing circles and do anything that I can to bring change to the devastation and impact of gun violence and what it does to us and our families. So we've done a lot of changes in San Francisco, and Chief Scott did the honors with Mayor Daniel Lurie, and I was very honored to be there and to be receiving that honor on behalf.
Wow. Well, let's watch. We've got a clip here that was featured on their Instagram page here that we'll play for everybody. We'll make sure we share the sound.
Yeah, that's Chief Scott.
Commissioner for the Police Department.
Commissioner for the Police Department.
For the City and County of San Francisco.
For the City and County of San Francisco. Without you, I could not do it. Because this is about all of us or none of us. And together, we're in it to win it. Chief Scott. We're in it to win it. And together we will. We will stop the killing and start the healing. With this prescription. So thank you.
From day one, Commissioner Scott has been about one thing, and that is the people of San Francisco and this community. And her reach, as was said by Speaker Emeritus Pelosi, expands this entire country and probably then some. She is relentless. She won't take no for an answer. And she will hound you until she gets what you need. And that is exactly what we need. So I am so looking forward to working with Commissioner Scott. I like the sound. Yeah, I know. And I am really, really honored to present her with her San Francisco Police Commissioner star. So please,
That's amazing.
Wow. Thank you. Yes. Yes.
So incredible.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Thanks.
Maddie Scott, thank you so much for joining us. As we mentioned, we've got some more surprise guests that I'm sure everybody is excited to meet. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So, you know, of course, there is yet another sister in the house who is also a grandmother. We've got none other than Annette Buckingham, right? Yes.
Come here. Come on. Here she is.
Slowly but surely.
She said,
Yes, I love it. Family headquarters. That's always what grandma's house is.
Yes.
Yes. So you actually live in the home. Is that correct?
No, I do since I retired, yes.
Yes. So what is it like? I know you had left and relocated back into the home. What is it like living and working back in the same space where your mom is and all these family members are living?
Okay, I retired, so I don't work here anymore. I worked and I retired from social services in the state of Nevada. So I work for the state of Nevada and for UC Davis and in the state of Nevada for over 30 years. So I retired and moved back here to live. This is my first time living here.
And so what has that experience been like?
It's been wonderful to be home because I always wanted to be near my mom. So it's great. And my sisters. And to actually be retired and not have to get up and go to work every day. I spend every single day with my mom and my sisters when they come visit. So it's a wonderful experience.
Well, I have one more question for you. If you had to describe your mother in one word, I know that's probably difficult to do, but what would it be?
Fabulous. She brightens every single day, because I don't care when I see her, when I walk through, she has this bright smile on her face. If she's having a not great day, I can smile at her and she smiles at me, and we have this laugh, and it's just amazing. I love her so much. And after being away because I was working out of state and not being able to see her, my dream was to be able to spend the rest of my life with her. And that wish came through because I was not getting any younger and I knew she wasn't getting any younger. And I just wanted to get back home and spend as much time as I could with my mom. And God granted me that wish because now I'm here. And it's amazing. Fantastic. Yes.
That is fantastic. And we've got, you know, speaking of fabulous, I would have to agree that that is an amazing word. We have got a cover of your mom's book. So for those of you that might have missed it in the bio, great-great-grandmother McMullen actually wrote a book at the age of 90 plus years old. Can we get that on? Look at this. This is incredible. So this is the book here. Wow.
And she still reads it.
Yes, this is amazing. And then we also have a fabulous picture. This really embodies the word fabulous from, yes, look at this.
That's her.
Yes.
Wow. So beautiful. So beautiful. Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us, Annette. This has been fabulous. Thank you. And so, yes, of course, there's another grandmother in the house.
Yes. She's coming, Joyce.
Joyce, one more grandmother.
Joyce.
All of you out there watching, I'm sure you can relate. You know, grandmother's house, this is headquarters. This is family headquarters, and so much love in one place. So much love and so much talent.
And here's Joyce.
Yes, so we are joined by our final surprise guest, Joyce Foster. Hi.
Hello.
It's good to see you. So you actually operate a catering company out of the home. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Wow, that is amazing. So what advice would you have, and you're also a grandmother, what advice would you have for someone who's trying to start a business and doesn't really know where to start?
I would say, you know what? Follow your heart and your dream and go all the way. And so for me, it has been, I've been actually an entrepreneur since age 12.
Yeah.
So I learned from the best. My mom.
Yeah.
I was the youngest, so I actually took up all of her traits.
She did.
From sewing, from crocheting, from just doing everything. And I enjoy everything. And so I would say actually, in terms of my entrepreneurship is that I enjoy helping other to experience everything that they can in life.
That's right. Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you so, so much. That is, you all are incredible. You
And
truly.
Joyce also operates the daycare, the preschool downstairs. She's
Yes.
the owner and operator now.
Yes. Yes.
Wow. I just don't believe that we do have the same 24 hours because I don't know how you all get it all done. And you're so relaxed and calm. I mean, it clearly runs in the family. That is incredible.
Definitely does. Yeah.
That's incredible. So, as we begin to wrap up, we have time for maybe one or two questions from our incredible audience out there watching. And we want to thank you all so much for watching. At this time, I will leave it up to you, Grandmother Johnson. Do we want to see if great-great-grandmother Dorothy McMullen is up to answering some questions? As I mentioned earlier, she's now hearing impaired, but she is able to, at times, answer questions that are written down. So we'll see. If not, this has been an incredible celebration of an amazing woman, and I hope you all are enjoying it as much as I am.
Okay. So I'll write it down. I'll get the board, and then since she's up to write, let me get it. Mom, would answer some questions. Let's see. Let me get the board. Okay.
We'll see. And like I said, if
I'll
not,
answer it. Okay.
we've had a time. That's right.
At 102, you can do that, right?
Absolutely. At 102. And I mean, shouts out to all of you all watching. Is this not amazing? Put your thoughts in the chat. Let us know what you're thinking. Show us some love. We've got Lynette White. Thank you so much for tuning in. Gina Lawrence, thank you. Cheryl Rutherford, thank you so, so much for supporting the Grandmother Project. Thank you. This is amazing. Lynn Morrow, thank you.
Yeah, I asked her if she was happy, and she said yes.
Yes. And you look good.
Yes.
So, so good. The good genes running the family.
Yes, yes. Mom, would you like to say anything? I asked her. Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Oh, you happy today?
Are you happy today?
I ain't sad.
You're not sad, okay?
What I'm supposed to do? I'm happy today.
Okay, she's happy today.
What a blessing.
Yes, she's happy
Thank God
today.
for that. What a tremendous.
And it's a good thing I didn't bring out a song because she would sing a long time. Her song, Precious Lord, she would sing at the cross. She would go on and on and on. She'd be singing through the whole segment because she loves to sing.
Listen, and again, when you have seen as much and have been through as much, you can sing for as long as you want.
That's correct. That is correct.
We do have a question here. Where we have one more, we have time for a question. Oh, I just lost it. Oh, so, what has been how have you all sort of made it through as a family through difficult times? What do you sort of lean on to get through?
As Maddie said, like Maddie was on vacation, lost her son, gun violence. We had another little cousin hit by a car, 6 years of age. We've had family members who were on crack, go to jail. We've had like every other family ups and downs. Matter of fact, Mom's book, her book of poems, it talked from the biblical things to there were poems about being on crack, hooked on crack, and how she felt. I think the fact of talking about coming together, we've had nephews who wanted to hurt themselves. We've had family members go through all kinds of crises, our own marriages, hardships, nothing, but the goal was to come together. Number one, to pray, come together, talk about them, and just heal together. And I can remember like Maddie said, when Maddie lost George, and she just didn't want to live. And mom said, babe, you get up, you get up and you do something about it. And I think that's the thing as a family, seeking God through prayer, being open and getting the support that's there. That's if you're humble enough to receive it. Because pride will just, if you just stay alone and don't get the help and you just be humble and seek help, I think that's the key thing.
That is incredible. And I want to take this time to read some of the comments. Sherry Range Hester says, I love this. Kim Gilmer, inspirational and blessed. Janelle, thank you so much for tuning in. This is awesome. Amazing, beautiful family. Cindy Kiefer, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Awesome, beautiful family. So blessed. Thank you. Cassandra Brazil, that's my mom. What an amazing family. Diane Thomas, very touching. You all are incredible. I feel so privileged to have known you all. And Gina Lawrence, the love and perseverance that you all show is just wow. And so I think that, I hope that you are feeling the love of people watching this and you all know how inspirational you are to so many. We want to put a couple more pictures up of the family. We've got pictures of, oh yes, all of you. This is the shot. Oh, I love it.
This is how we slept in bed together. We never had a room of our own. I think that's why we're so close.
I love it. You all are so beautiful and so incredible. We've got a couple of pictures here that we want to just close out with. We've got a family reunion photo that's got you all in it, an extended family, and we want to definitely put that up, as well as a birthday party picture, just to show again all of the love that's in this family. Oh, and we've got, yes, this is a birthday picture, and we've got a comment from somebody I know you all will know, Alexis.
Oh, yeah.
I'm one of the grandchildren here of Dorothy, so grateful of Grandma's example of hard work, love, and excellence. I have learned to also have a business in our home, currently manage preschool centers, and have a rental business in my yard. She taught us well. And we actually do have a picture of Alexis that we'll get up, as well as her siblings. So we do have that. But it's apparent that you all have passed this on to the younger generations. So yes, this is awesome. So we've got all of them here, and I'm sure there are so many more people that have been impacted that that we just want to give credit to here from this amazing, amazing family. Alice Spencer says, thank you for inviting me to participate in such an inspirational and positive energy transfer, equal hope. Cheryl Rutherford says, this program is a special gift for each of us tonight. It's an honor to be in the presence of these very special women to witness their experience. I look forward to each presentation. These women are incredible. And so closing out, I have just one more question before we close, as we are a little bit over, but of course, again, we're celebrating years of legacy. So we're going to take our time with this. But, so many families now, they want what you all have, right? They're trying to figure out how they can pass along these lessons. What advice, and you all can pick which one answers this question, but what advice do you have for a family who is trying to pass along legacy to their children and keep their family bond strong?
I think communication and sitting down with your family. One thing that was really important for our family was you had to be at the dinner table at 6 o'clock. It was mandatory. My dad got home from work. We had to be at that dinner table with him and my mother so that they could talk to us, ask questions, see how our day went, tell us about how his day went, working as an African-American male in a white, predominantly establishment, and all the trials and tribulations he had. But at the same time, bringing it to the core at the table, the dinner table, that was major for us, and our spirituality, and this is my great granddaughter, Sonora.
Hi, yes. And talking to legacy. Now, is it possible, because I know we still have Inez. Inez, are you nearby?
Oh, no, she went back in the room.
Okay, well, I just want to thank you all, every single one of you. Great-great-grandmother Dorothy McMullen, it has been my sincerest honor and privilege to be able to spend this time with you. You are an incredible woman. who has really just poured so much into your family, and it's very apparent. And so thank you so much for being a part of this. And I want to thank each of you for being a part of this special presentation. Thank you all for watching. I want to give a special thanks to Volan Almacar for linking us. And our awesome technical engineer, Tori Parham, who has been behind the scenes, putting up these slides and videos. Many of you have asked how you can support the Grandmother Project. Right now, you can subscribe to our YouTube page. It's simple, youtube.com/The Grandmother Project. Click subscribe, like our videos. And we have a special message of how you can donate, because this is a labor of love and we want to continue to bring you new content and tell these stories. But again, I want to thank you all for joining us. Stay tuned if you're out there for a short video, and we will see you next month for another episode of Pearls and Pocketbooks.
Thank you so much, Melly. You're awesome.
And remember, a family that prays together stays together.
All
right.
That's the motto. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye for now.
Good
All right,
night.
stay tuned for a special video.
Supporting the Grandmother Project is easy. Simply go to www.grandmotherprojectseries.com and click Donate. You'll be directed to our PayPal page, where you can enter an amount to help support the creation of new episodes and content. Be sure to like and subscribe to our page on YouTube and follow us on social media. See you next month on the next Pearls and Pocketbooks.